name's Jackie Paul. Something I realized recently is you don't know that your family's weird as fuck when you're a kid. It's something that you figure out as you get a little older, and then you either figure out whether you can afford to go to therapy or you go into comedy and just do it in the Capo basement. So we're gonna do that tonight. See, both of my parents were entrepreneurs, so sometimes we had money and sometimes we didn't, but we still always had a family trip. Some years we'd go to a tropical island. Some years we would pitch a tent in the park while our house guy found us a new one. In a world of haves and have-nots, we call that a have sometimes. You see, most of my friends' dads wore suits and went to their jobs. My dad wore the cargo pants that zip off at the knees and built robots in my basement. When your dad's an inventor, your mom says stuff like, do your homework or dad's gonna help you. And that's a threat, because it means you're gonna have to build a 3D model, research the origins of the equilateral triangle, and read the next 10 chapters before you were allowed to watch cartoons. My mom had a job, a real one. She quit that because it was more risky to let my dad raise us than for us to have a steady flow of income at any time. Smart woman. She now makes and sells jewelry. She once said to me, Jackie, selling jewelry is like selling crack. You don't need more customers, you just need more crack. And that's how in my reality of the world you can live in a nice town in the suburbs by selling crack and fucking around with electronics in your basement. Both sides of my family historically are ranchers and farmers, which explains nothing about why I've killed every plant I've ever owned and I'm terrified of birds. My mom's side of the family is from Grand Junction, Colorado, which is just as gourmet as it sounds. Recently I was with my friend, her family's Venezuelan, and they were talking about how different regions of Venezuela have different ways of making this traditional dish called nayaca. And I stepped in and I was like, this sounds just like Colorado, but for us it's different ways that you mix Jell-O and mayonnaise with other foods. And that's when I realized I was white trash. My dad also kind of grew up on a farm. He taught me growing up that when you break something, you don't call someone, you fix it. So when I crashed my brother's car into a wall and the wheel well was hanging off, I duct taped that bitch back on and I called no one. Apparently I missed the message. You ever wake up and realize you turned into your own dad? That's how I woke up today. I realized yesterday I walked around my apartment to make sure all the lights were turned off. I yelled at some youths in the street for being on their phones. And I called my mom 3 times for help on questions that I probably should have known about myself. That's also when I realized I probably should stop looking for a boyfriend and should start looking for a wife. But nonetheless, I've been looking for a boyfriend for a while. But it turns out my personality doesn't come across very well on dates. How do you tell someone that you are an emotionally unstable dad who wants to be a comedian and is scared of birds? You don't, is the answer. Luckily though, I'm a Gemini. For those of you that don't know what that means, it's a twin sign. It means we all have 2 personalities. I like to think of myself as a super Gemini because I have like 6. And that works great for dating because you just pick your favorite personality and she puts on a show for the guy and then you never talk to him again. For those of you that know me, you know I like to have multiple boyfriends at the same time. So that I don't have to ever be alone with my own thoughts. But I recently decided to dump the bench and run my own NFL combine, but no one knows they're playing football or that they're involved. So, I'm going to tell you about some of my top draft picks at the current moment. There's this one guy I've been seeing for like a few months, and by seeing I mean we only hang out in group settings. He treats me like shit, and we don't even have sex. That's similar to a win-win, but it's called a lose-lose-lose. My standards for this one are so low. One time he brought me a free cup of water, and I called him caring and considerate. If you can't tell, my type is any guy with blue eyes that treats me like shit. I've been accidentally practicing celibacy for some time now. The one time I tried to bring a guy home to my apartment, he pissed in my bed and left his business card on my dresser. So now I'm just only going for guys that don't have careers because they don't have business cards. I tried the apps for a bit. I round my height up a little bit just so they know they're going on a date with Slender Man. And I went on a date with this guy. He said he was 5'10", and turns out he was 5'6", which should be a felony, not because he was short, but because you're a fucking liar. Our current draft pick is like probably about my height. If it's a good day and we're on a hill. But it's okay because luckily I like my men how I like my oysters. Clean and small. Take that however you want. That's my time.